There's something strange about convenience. Give people easy access to something for long enough, and eventually they stop treating it like a favor and start acting like they own it. That's exactly what happened here. And the moment that access disappeared, Karen completely lost her mind. I bought the property for one simple reason: peace and quiet. 60 acres of open land, a few scattered trees, a pond sitting near the back edge, and an old dirt road running straight to the middle that looked like it hadn't been cared for in years. It wasn't luxurious, but it was calm. And more importantly, it belonged to me. No HOA breathing down my neck. No neighborhood committees. No ridiculous rules about paint colors or lawn height. Just space, privacy, and freedom. The only issue was that one side of the land bordered a clean little suburban neighborhood with a very involved HOA. Back then, I didn't think much about it. That turned out to be a huge mistake. The dirt road crossing my property connected to major roads on both ends. It wasn't public or official, just an old access trail that existed long before I purchased the land. But apparently, the HOA residents had been treating it like their personal shortcut for years. Instead of taking a longer route to the main road, they drive directly across my property, save a few minutes, and continue on like nothing was wrong. As soon as I moved in, I noticed the traffic immediately. Cars passing through all day long, clouds of dust hanging in the air behind them, tire marks digging deeper into the already damaged road. At first, I ignored it. I assumed people would eventually realize the land had a new owner and stop using it. They didn't. If anything, the traffic got worse. Morning commuters cutting through my property, people running errands through my property, even late-night drivers still crossing my land. It was as if I didn't exist at all, like my property was somehow public space. The first time I tried handling it, I stayed polite about it. One morning I stood near the road and flagged down a driver. "Hey," I said calmly, trying to stay friendly. "Just so you know, this is private property." The driver looked genuinely confused. "We've always driven through here," he replied. "I understand," I said, "but I recently bought the land, and I'm going to start restricting access." He apologized, nodded, and turned his car around. I honestly thought that would solve the issue. It didn't. A few days later, I installed signs. Private property. No through traffic. Big signs, easy to read, impossible to miss. People ignored them anyway. Some drivers slowed down just enough to glance at the signs before continuing through. Others acted like they weren't even there. That's when I realized the situation wasn't going to solve itself. And that's when Karen showed up. I met her on a Tuesday afternoon. I was standing near the entrance to the dirt road, marking spots where I planned to put up fencing, when a car pulled up way too close beside me. The driver's door flew open, and out stepped exactly the kind of person you'd expect to run an HOA. Confident, annoyed, and already angry before the conversation even started. "Excuse me," she snapped. "What exactly do you think you're doing?" I looked over at her. "Planning a fence." "You cannot block this road," she said instantly. I raised an eyebrow. "Actually, I can. It's part of my property." She crossed her arms tightly. "This is a community access road." "No," I answered calmly. "It's a private dirt path people have been using without permission." Her face immediately tightened. "We've been using? People have been using it for years," she argued. "And now they won't be," I replied. She definitely didn't like hearing that. Over the next week, Karen basically turned stopping me into her full-time job. She came back again and again, and every visit was more confrontational than the last. At first, she tried sounding reasonable. "You're going to create major traffic issues," she warned. Then she switched tactics and tried to make it sound like friendly advice. "You should seriously rethink this. This road helps everyone." Eventually, the tone changed completely. "The HOA is not going to appreciate this," she said one afternoon with a tight smile that barely hid the threat underneath. Through all of it, I never yelled, never lost my temper, never argued back. I just calmly repeated the same sentence every single time. "It's private property." While Karen kept complaining, I kept moving forward. I hired surveyors to officially confirm the property lines. Contractors came out and marked the exact fence route. And not long after that, construction started. I wasn't building anything outrageous, just a proper perimeter fence along the edge of the property, enough to clearly establish the boundary once and for all. At the entrance to the dirt road, I installed a gate, a large one too, steel frame, reinforced posts, heavy-duty hinges, lockable, solid, and impossible to miss. The day that gate went up was the day the entire situation exploded. Karen arrived before the workers had even finished installing it. "You need to stop this immediately," she shouted while climbing out her car. I didn't even bother looking away from the contractor I was speaking with. "Nope. This road is essential," she snapped angrily. "People depend on it." "Then they should have bought it," I answered. Her face instantly turned bright red. "You are being completely unreasonable." "No," I said calmly. "I'm acting like a property owner." By that evening, the gate was fully installed, closed, locked, and just like that, the shortcut disappeared overnight. The reaction from the neighborhood was immediate. Cars pulled up to the entrance, slowed down, then stopped in confusion. Some driver stepped out and stared at the gate like it might somehow vanish if they waited long enough. Others angrily turned their vehicles around and drove off. A few people even tried arguing with me through the fence, as if debating reality would suddenly make the road public. It didn't. But Karen still wasn't finished. The very next day, she returned carrying a thick folder of paperwork. "I contacted the HOA's attorneys," she announced while waving the papers in the air. "You can't just block a road that's been used for this many years." I leaned casually against the gate and held out my hand. "All right then," I said, "show me the easement." She paused. Then she started flipping through the folder. One page, then another, then back again. Nothing, because no easement existed. That was the moment everything changed. Up until then, Karen had been operating entirely on confidence and assumptions. She believed that because people had used the road for years, that somehow gave them ownership over it. But that's not how the law works. And deep down, she already knew that. After that conversation, the visits slowly stopped. The arguments disappeared. Eventually, the neighborhood adjusted. People found other ways out, longer routes, less convenient ones, but routes they actually had the legal right to use. And the dirt road? It's quiet now. No endless traffic. No dust clouds drifting across the property. Just the sound of wind moving through the trees once in a while. Exactly the kind of peace I was hoping for when I bought the land. The gate is still there too, usually locked. Not because I'm bitter or trying to punish anyone, but because boundaries only matter when you enforce them. And sometimes the easiest way to teach people that lesson is simply by closing the shortcut.